say that your colleague and everything, the people you are working with, they start to get depressed or to get really anxious?
Well, it's a combination. I think some people are depressed. I think some people are anxious. In terms of artists, I think artists are looking at new ways to think about expressing themselves online or limited. And along with artists' lives changing, the educational piece is changing. I've taught at a few schools, and I talk to the people who call me to hire me to work there, and many professors are retiring early. They don't want the schools don't want to pay some of them and have them work from home. I taught a class. I substitute teaching a class in New York University, and two students were in Beijing. One was in Cuba. One was in Brooklyn. Another one was in Nigeria. And this is a class. This is one class taking this one electronic music class, and I was it was so strange to.
And so you did it from home.
From home, I did it from home, and I said, okay. And I asked the students before teaching, how do you feel? You're in your studio, you're at home, and they felt like it was strange. And they said their parents don't want to pay them money to send them back to New York they're afraid. Are they going to be stuck in a dorm? Are they going to be allowed to go to class or not go to class? So we have a cultural shift happening.
But then I have a question, Will, because yes, so I think as you said, the situation in New York is really different than the situation in Berlin. But when it was like some months ago, the peak of the crisis, did you have at some point, or did your body have at some point really integrate the new rules?
No.
No. So, okay.
I mean, the rules are strange only because they don't apply honestly and civically to what's happening. So yeah, you don't want to go out, you don't want to spread, you don't want to wear a mask. Those rules, yes. Multiple things are happening at the same time. So you have a situation where you're following the rules, yet people who aren't working, people who are sick, people who are dying, you can't see people who are dying, you can't go into the hospital and be with loved ones. There's all of these other tangibles that make the rules unnecessary in a way. So it's going to be interesting to see, I think, in 2 years, how our culture is going to change. I think I'm giving it 2 years. I think it's still in the middle of an undecided verdict at the moment. It's going to be very, very interesting as time goes along. And my concerns as a human being are more based around these spiritual fallout of what we're experiencing now as human beings. What's going to be the fallout? What's going to be our new legacy, and how is the technology, and you're entertaining yourself on your computer, and you're working on your computer, and you're looking for jobs on your computer, and you're watching a movie on your computer, and you're talking to your family on your computer. It's like there's all of these things that are happening and that are very disconnected from hugs and holding hands and having a meal with someone, or smoking a cigarette and having a chat, having wine with someone. There's so many things that are a part of our cultural exchange that have been hijacked.
But then do you think that you have new physical habits?
There's a few. I mean, I think the first physical habit is frustration. I think that's a big one. It's just frustration. I think people are really frustrated. We're not getting answers. We don't know what's really going on. Getting a vaccine doesn't make you 100% safe. Of course, people want to take it, and I understand, but people have lost money for 1 year. Education has changed, healthcare has changed. There's so many transients along with these with these new moods. There isn't a plan, and then they're sending out little stimulus checks to people, and they haven't worked in 6 months, and then they get, you know, 1,200 euro, 1,400 euro, and you say, okay, this is called a stimulus, but what is it stimulating?
Actually, I had the feeling at the beginning of the lockdown last year that I was living on my with all my fresh memories of what my life used to be.
Yes.
And then I could still entertain myself, you know, thinking or make connection with what I used to know. But with the time passing, is exactly what you said. I don't see, yeah, now I don't have any inspiration anymore, you know. Life
Yeah.
doesn't, it's terrible, it's really sad. But life, and also I refuse to be inspired by that kind of life. I'm sure that some people will do it and will do it really, really well. You know, they will manage to find a twist or something. But for me, it's still, yet it's, I still really refuse. So I'm still, okay, so what can I do now?
Which makes this project interesting because, you know, we have deadlines and we have to move on things, but we're actually working in an environment that, for the most part, for artists, is foreign and in many ways not conducive to expressing yourself. Like I look at my friends' art, my colleagues, I look at what they're doing, and I listen to the music that they're writing. It's very, very, very interesting emotionally what's happening in our creative aspects, because we have so many things now that we already have to deal with so many other things that we struggle with, creativity and lifestyle and finances and travel and acceptance and critics and deadlines and, you know, all of these things. And now we have these more unique and unfamiliar rules coming into our arena. And I believe that it's very, very tricky.
Yeah,
One of
and sometimes I get a bit annoyed with the when I see like a lot of new call for application for artists. It's like, because we are artists, we're gonna for sure find a solution, invent new thing, create new possibilities. You
right.
know, I think the responsibility is a bit too big. You know, I think we are like also we are workers also. You know, we need to, yeah, it's not like we can all invent new ways of being in this world like this, because I think,
Yeah, well, adaption is a funny word because our industry is changing. It's not going to function the same. If you can't go into an art gallery or you can't go into a concert hall, you can't go into a Broadway show, it's going to have an impact on how we're going to create and see our art and how people are going to feel about it. And the problem, I think one of the problems is we are now being creative in an arena where we have to do everything else. I would say it's the same as like doing everything in the bathroom. You know, it's like you use the bathroom to shower and do whatever else you do. Now you have to work in the bathroom, and now you have to be creative in the bathroom, and now you have to cook in the bathroom, and now you have to read in the bathroom. We're being forced to be in one space and to have all of these interesting things happen in one space. So the bright side is we are artists and we're very flexible.
for me this how can I say, I think if it's because I have a lot of artist friends in Berlin, and they are still not so stable in their career, in the direction that they take artistically. And so now actually they are absolutely not able to change direction, and so they're like just collapsing, you know. So I think, of
Wow.
course, if you're like a bit older, more experienced, and you have like a strong base, yes, you can, like, you know how you work, and you know again how to adapt, you know. But I think for a lot of young artists, like who are really starting their career, I think it's really, really hard. It's really hardcore. But Will, do you get funding from the government?
I'm going to say yes in theory because we are getting this little stimulus thing. I'm more concerned about very, very young people or people who began their lives what used to be pre-COVID lives, and then they're young and it's gone. You know, you socially it's gone. Visiting your parents or your grandparents becomes challenging. Those things really are tough because it's difficult for you to think in these terms. it's psychologically, it's going to be interesting to see, even all of us as human beings, what the impact is going to be psychologically. So, Sophie, we have a very big job to save the world with our art.
But the thing is funny. It's funny, Will, to see the change of my mood and my my mental state. I think it's always quite okay, you know. But I think 2 weeks ago I was in Brussels. And I felt like really inspired, uplifted, and that everything is fine. And since I'm in Berlin,
Wow.
It's hardcore, you know, because so I'm walking in the street, everything is closed, and it's really I feel really dry in my head, Will.
Wow.
It's sad because also, as you know, this city like Berlin is also like it represents like party alternative way of living and blah blah blah. But then there is a good news. It's totally it's not connected to anything, but I'm on the waiting list in a Baugenossenschaft. So, Will, what's
a waiting list for what?
A Baugenossenschaft. So it's a cooperative, like a flat. Because I don't know if you know, but in Berlin, Will, finding a flat, it's horrible. Because the price in Berlin are still quite low, but so many people wants to live here, and then it's like everyone is running to have the flat. And actually, they will pass the law where they will have a maximum rent that people have to pay, which is quite good, you know, because now it's getting crazy. So I finally registered it's like a cooperative, and if I'm in this cooperative, they will search a flat for me because they have a lot of houses with flats. So I just have to wait for them to tell me, hey, there is a flat which is available for you. And this, I'm really looking forward. This is the good news of the day.
Okay, right.